Hello Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So Pisces, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and are moving forward. So with all that being said, Pisces, let's get started. So far you do have the Two of Pentacles, but how does Pisces currently view this relationship? All right, Pisces. So we do have the Two of Pentacles, as I mentioned. We also have the Two of Wands, and then we also have the Chariot out here. The bottom of the deck, we do have the Five of Swords, and then we also have the Queen of Swords. It looks like you're connecting with this Queen of Swords like energy. Now, keep in mind, for some of you, the roles can totally be reversed, but as I'm breaking these energies down, you'll be able to basically decipher between, you know, who you are basically in all of this. But for the sake of the reading, I'm going to go ahead and say that you're this masculine energy over here, but you don't have to be this masculine energy, okay? Now, in regards to how you're currently viewing this relationship, Pisces, the fact that you have the Two of Pentacles out here, you know, before the Two of Pentacles comes the Ace of Pentacles. So you're trying to offer, you know, this feminine energy that you currently find yourself connecting with, you know, stability. You know, this is somebody that you want to, you know, build and establish a life with, especially with that Two of Wands coming out here. Again, before the Two of Wands comes the Ace of Wands, which speaks of our own personal wants and desires. So it's pretty evident to me you're connecting with a feminine energy that you want to build with, that you want to create and establish a life with. And with the Chariot coming out here, that's kind of telling me that you're very determined to make that happen. However, it kind of looks like as you're trying to build and establish a life with this feminine energy, you're running into a lot of issues, is like the best way that I could describe it. Is I'm seeing here you're running into a lot of issues, and it's primarily because of this person's past and very little to do with you. You know, with the Queen of Swords, so Five of Swords, that's kind of telling me that you're more than likely connecting with somebody who has been through a lot in previous relationships, making it hard for this person to be vulnerable with people, making it hard for this person to let someone in, making it hard for this person to trust someone. It's basically what I'm getting so far when it comes down to this feminine energy that you're connecting with. But despite the fact that you might find yourself facing a lot of you know, issues along the way as you're trying to build and establish a life, you know, with this person, it kind of looks like no matter what you're being faced with, whether it has everything to do with their trust issues, past trauma, whatever have you, you're still determined to stick by this person's side and create and establish a relationship you want with this person. So let's look at this feminine energy and see how they're currently viewing their relationship with you. How does this person currently view this relationship with Pisces? All right, let's see what's going on. Okay, it kind of looks like this person, since they've been involved with you, and I'm not entirely sure how long the two of you have been involved with one another. It could have been for, you know, a while now. For some of you, you could have just recently met this person not too long ago, but for others of you, yeah, you guys could have been dealing with one another for quite some time now. But kind of looks like this person's really trying to kind of get down to the bottom of the truth here when it comes down to your actual intentions here towards them. You know, are you here because you really, really love them and you really want to be with them? Or are you here, you know, because you're just trying to use them and, you know, take advantage, you know, of them? So it kind of looks like since the two of you got involved with one another, it's just something that this person has been trying to basically figure out. How does Pisces currently feel about this relationship? We have the Ten of Swords, we have the Six of Cups, and then we also have, okay, the Sun out here. The fact that you have the Ten of Swords over here and the Ten of Swords over here, that's kind of telling me that throughout the course of your involvement with this person, there has been times where you found yourself feeling extremely defeated, you know, to the point where you do want to give up on them and what it is that you want with them. And it's not because, again, you don't see yourself, you know what I mean, having or establishing a life with this person, because you do. I just kind of feel like what makes you hit this defeated energy within your relationship with this person has a lot to do with the challenges that you've been facing within your relationship, you know, with them. So as much as we do see, you know, how attached you are to them, as well as your relationship with them, what you want with them, yeah, there are times where you do find yourself wanting to kind of throw your hands up and just simply give up. Due to basically the challenges you've been facing within your relationship with this person. But That's the thing, right? Is that the person that sits in a chariot is the emperor. And when it comes down to an emperor-like energy, an emperor doesn't know how to really give up on the things that they essentially want in this life. They don't know how to give up. So even though they tend to face a lot of challenges when it comes down to whatever it is that they're trying to pursue, whatever it is that they're trying to obtain, whatever it is that they're trying to essentially make happen, they don't ever know how to just stop and say, screw this, I'm done, I give up. They don't know how to do that. So even though it may have crossed your mind, to give up on them and what you want, with them, I don't think that you've ever allowed yourself to actually do so as far as giving up on them and what you want with them and, your relationship, with them. Okay. How does this person currently feel about this relationship? Okay. So we do have the Four of Swords. We do have the Seven of Pentacles. And then we also have the Six of Swords. Okay. Yeah, you're definitely dealing, because this person keeps showing up with the same old energy. We got the Queen of Swords for them again and the Five of Swords for them again. Okay. I feel like there's times, Pisces, where you in this relationship that they share with you does make them feel safe and secure at times. At times this person does feel like, man, like Pisces really does love me. Pisces really does care about me. Pisces truly is invested in me and what we have. But then there's times where they find themselves thinking and feeling the complete opposite, is basically what I'm getting. Now, I do want to entertain this energy a little bit more since this person keeps showing up with this energy time and time again. But before I do that, I want to see if I can find a specific tarot deck. Let me go looking for it. I don't know if I'm going to find it or not, but I'll be right back. One second. Okay, so I wasn't able to find the other tarot deck, so what I'm going to do is use the same, tarot deck that I'm using for your reading. I just have a whole nother one. So I'm using basically two Modern Witch tarot decks. And I do want to clarify this person's energy just a little bit more because I want to see if the Devil actually comes out for them or the Ten of Swords comes out for them. So with that being said, let's look at this Queen of Swords energy. Tell me more about the Queen of Swords to the Five of Swords. Okay, so you have the Page of Pentacles, we got the Seven of Wands, we got the Two of Wands. Okay. All right, so let's talk. Your person, from the looks of it, regardless if they're consciously aware of this or not, but this person does struggle. This person does definitely struggle with trusting people. So I think it's safe to say that you're connecting with somebody who does have trust issues, especially with that Page of Pentacles energy coming out here. Page of Pentacles represents somebody who's, trustworthy. And I do feel like that's something that this person does struggle with when it comes down to their relationship with you, as far as them feeling like you're trustworthy, is concerned. With the Seven of Wands, this could represent somebody who has a massive fear of intimacy. Again, these could be things that this person's consciously aware of. Or this could be things that this person is not consciously aware of that they're basically struggling with. But what I am getting primarily is that this person does struggle with trust issues, and they do have a massive fear of intimacy. With the Five of Swords coming out here for this person, keep in mind, because I'm getting two different things here. So both things may resonate and both things may not resonate. So just keep that in mind. Or maybe one thing might resonate with this person. It doesn't necessarily have to be both, but with the Five of Swords coming out here, I mean, this could definitely imply, not saying that this is the case, but this could definitely imply that prior to this person meeting you, Pisces, maybe there were some things that this person has done to other people that they're not necessarily proud of, okay? And they could very well be, unfortunately haunted by, their old ways of basically being, who knows? Maybe this person was like the only heartbreaker back in the days, who knows? Maybe this person was the only Playboy Playgirl like energy, back in the days or before they basically met you. And they could be, finding themselves thinking that you're probably going to do them the same way that they've done other people. But this could have a lot to do with things that people have personally put them through, okay? Maybe they've dealt with a lot of liars. Maybe they dealt with, people who were sneaky, people who would gaslight them, manipulate them, betray them, things of that nature. And they could be unfortunately haunted by all of that within their relationship, with you. That's definitely a possibility. Here's the thing, when it comes down to that devilish energy, as far as them essentially feeling like you're here for all of the wrong reasons, I don't feel like you've given this person any sort of, indication that you are here for the wrong reasons. Listen, Pisces, maybe you've done something on your end unknowingly that may have triggered this person into thinking that you're here for all of the wrong reasons. But when I look at you and your energy, I don't see somebody who's basically with this person to the right of me for all of the wrong reasons. In other words, I don't feel like you're here to use them, or, take advantage of them, or whatever the case may be. I'm just not getting that, to be completely honest, when I look at you and your energy. But like I said, there's a possibility that, you could have done something throughout the course of your involvement with this person that has led this person to think and believe, well, maybe you are here to use them. Maybe you are here to basically take advantage of them. It's a possibility. Now, let me grab these cards so I don't mix my tarot decks here. Let me put this one away. Let me grab this one again. I do want to look at the devil. Don't move. Oh, great. Let me grab the card that fell. 1 second, Pisces. Okay. I got that Seven of Wands energy again. Tell me more about the... Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting like a variety of different things that maybe like cross this person's mind in regards to like why you're really here. This person might think that, you're just pining after them for a good old time, nothing more, nothing less. I can't really agree with them on that, especially with the cards that you're getting. This person might think that you're the biggest playboy, playgirl like energy. I'm also not getting that because I don't have any sort of cards to indicate on your behalf that you are a playboy, playgirl like energy. I mean, you are showing up as an emperor, which is like the polar opposite of a King of Wands like energy. A King of Wands is somebody who has time to play fucking games. Oh boy, does the King of Wands have time to play fucking games. Just like the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands has time to play fucking games. An Emperor's too grown for that shit. Like, they're not trying to fucking play games. You know what I mean? They're not trying to play games. So that's another thing that I can't really agree with them on, just based off of how you're showing up, in your reading. I'm also getting that this person might feel like you're not as serious about them as you make it out to be. Again, I can't really say that that is the case. The only thing that I can really think of that's really happening here, Pisces, is that you more than likely, 9 times out of 10, you more than likely did something to cause this person to think that you're not serious about them. Now, even though you may have done something, Pisces, to cause this person to think that you're not serious about them, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not serious about them. Like I said, you could have done something that triggered this person unknowingly, and now they're over here thinking that, you're just here to use them. You're just here for a good old time, nothing more, nothing less. And you're just here to, take advantage of them. So just, keep that in mind. But if you did do something unknowingly to essentially trigger this person to thinking that that is why you're here, and it could have been one of the things that I essentially mentioned, I don't necessarily feel like that was your intentions, as far as like causing this person to think and believe and feel this way towards you. I'm not entirely sure what the heck you did, okay? To cause this person to think that you're not serious about them. But at this point, I kind of feel like you more than likely did something unknowingly to trigger this person into thinking, okay, you're not serious about them. But again, even though you may have done something to cause this person to think that you're not serious about them, I kind of feel like you are, though. That's my thing. I kind of feel like you are. And I would love to like come up with like an example that I can set here, but to be honest, I'm kind of shooting blanks right now. I truly am. But regardless of whatever it is that you said, regardless of whatever it is that you did, I don't feel like you did it with the intentions of, I'm not serious about the Queen of Swords. I don't feel like you did it with those intentions, okay? I don't. You know what I mean? I don't. Like, for example, let's just say, for example, in a previous relationship that this Queen of Swords was a part of, let's just say, for example, they were dating somebody who constantly liked hanging out with their friends, for a perfect example, and they end up finding out that that person, wasn't actually hanging out with their friends. They were cheating on them with a whole nother woman or a whole nother man the whole freaking time. Well, let's just say, for example, you don't want to go out and hang out with your friends, you know what I mean? And you go and you hang out with them. That could be very triggering for this person, considering what they went through in their previous relationship. So But you just hanging out with your friends could cause this person to think, like Pisces is probably hanging out with some girl right now. Pisces is probably hanging out with some guy right now and cheating on me as we speak. You know what I mean? But you're not. You're actually hanging out with your boys. You're actually hanging out with your girlfriends. You see what I mean? So that's what I mean, where it's like you could have done something that could have triggered this person unknowingly, and it could have caused this person to think that way about you, possibly due to past traumas that they've experienced with other people, or what I basically said as well, things that they've personally done to other people. And if you move in a specific way, you know, especially if it's very similar to the way that they've essentially moved in the past, it could cause this person for sure to think that, oh yeah, like they're doing this and this because look, I've been there, not done that, so that's probably what they're doing too. Or, well, said person put me through this, so Pisces is probably doing the exact same thing. Hopefully that makes sense. What actions will Pisces take towards this person or moving forward? You know, this has a lot to do with this person's past, and I don't think that this person's willing to honestly accept that. I think that this person thinks that, nah, like the way that they feel within this relationship has everything to do with you, but it really, really doesn't. It has everything to do with this person's past. So when I say this person's past, I can mean their old self, or it could also mean things that they've personally experienced while dealing with other people. You see what I mean? But anyways, I think that you're constantly striving to improve your relationship with this person. But even though we see you constantly striving to improve things here between the two of you, you constantly find yourself back at square one over and over and over again. And it does have a lot to do with this person. I just don't feel like that's something that this person's willing to honestly accept and or admit, Pisces. And I'm just being real with you, especially with the Devil to the Ace of Swords to the Ten of Cups. This person, you know, is kind of looking at you like the reason why they feel the way that they feel, as far as feeling like they can't fully trust you, lower their guard down with you, feel safe and secure with you, has everything to do with apparently you, but it doesn't have anything to do with you. But that's just what this person thinks and believes. So that's going to be very challenging and difficult, I would say, at least for you, to get this person to see that no, like the reason why they feel this way has absolutely nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with either people they've dealt with or this old version of themselves, okay? And the reason why, you know, I'm starting to kind of feel like it could have a lot to do with both, or it could have a lot to do with one of the things that I mentioned. One of those things being it could have a lot to do with their old self, is because this person did show up as a Queen of Swords to the Queen of Wands. So yeah, there's a huge possibility that prior to this person meeting you, they could have been the only playboy playgirl like energy. They could have been, they could have, you know, been like the biggest like heartbreaker. I don't necessarily feel like this person was always like this. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that this person was always like this. I think that this person went through a really bad experience, and that bad experience really did change this person forever. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it changed them for the better. I think that it changed them for the worse, in the sense where they got betrayed, they got deceived by someone. And after that whole experience happened, you know, they made a vow to never take another person seriously ever again. You see what I mean? Or never trust a person again. Or never lower their guard down with a person ever again. And it could have definitely influenced this person to break a lot of hearts along the way. It could have caused this person to finesse a lot of people, lead a lot of people on, lie to a lot of people, betray a lot of people, deceive a lot of people. Maybe their mindset went from being loyal to, let me get them before they get me. You see what I mean? After this bad experience that they had. So it could have a lot to do with that. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Doom, toom, 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 toom. Come here. Okay. All right. We have the High Priestess. We have the Tower. Okay. And then we also have the Ten of Swords out here. Okay. You know, the Tower is linked to the Devil, so I'm not surprised to essentially see these two together coming out here, especially on their behalf. That's the thing, right? Is that I think that, you know, the universe, as well as spirit, as well as their guides, have been trying to kind of like get this person to see that everything that they're feeling within their relationship with you has nothing to do with their intuition sounding off the alarm. It has everything to do with this person's past, whether that has everything to do with the way that they were as a person, or just personal things that this person has experienced prior to basically meeting you, or even like a combo of both. But that's the thing, right, with this person, is that they don't want to believe that, nor do they want to accept that. They rather sit here and think and believe that you're actually the problem here, and that is just that. It is not them, and the things that they put other people through, it is not them and things that, you know, other people have basically put them through. It has to be you. It just has to be you, Pisces. You have to be the problem here, because it can't be them. It can't be them. But that's the thing, is that it is. And to be honest, I'd rather them, you know, be the problem than you be the problem, in my personal opinion, because they can't control you. You know, if you are the actual problem here, yeah, they can't control, you can't control anybody in this life, right? But yeah, the reason why I'm like, yo, I'd rather them be the problem than you be the problem, because if this person were to just accept the fact that, all right, like, I've done some things in my days and I'm not proud of, I did this, I did that, now I'm being haunted by the things I used to do, and I'm being haunted by things that other people have put me through, like, they could actually make peace with that, heal from that, move past that, find it in their heart to forgive themselves, especially other people, you know, in return, and just set themselves free, so that way they're not constantly being haunted by their old self or things that other people have essentially put them through. To me, I feel like that's an easy fix. That's something that this person can overcome, and that's something that once they do overcome, they're not going to continue to be basically haunted by. But this person needs to be honest. You know, have you ever heard of the saying, the truth the truth shall set you free? Yeah. I think that if this person were to be honest with themselves, they don't have to, you know, obviously confess anything to you when it comes on to the way that they were prior to them meeting you, or just things that they personally experienced prior to meeting you. But if this person could honestly be honest, you know, with themselves, and accept the fact that the reason why they think the way that they think and they feel the way that they feel has everything to do with them and very little to do with you, I think that it'll set this person free. And I think that this person would have peace of mind when it comes down to their relationship with you. Another thing too that I think that could really, really help this person, I mean, I think that it would definitely benefit this person if this person goes to therapy and basically confesses everything, you know what I mean, to that therapist, you know, and just get it off their chest and just let it out there, you know what I mean? Or confide in someone that they really, really do trust and be open and honest and transparent with, you know what I mean? When it comes on to the way that they used to be, you know, as a person, when it comes on to the things that they, yeah, when it comes down to the things that they personally experienced from other people, because that's another thing too, Pisces, is that if this has a lot to do with the way that they were as an individual, they're not going to sit up here and tell you all of that. Okay, they're just not. Out of fear that you might turn around and use that against them potentially, or bring it up in an argument, whatever have you. So they're not going to give you that type of ammunition. This person is showing up as the Queen of Wands to the Queen of Swords. So yeah, that's never going to happen. They're never going to sit here and tell you, well, Pisces, you know, the reason why I think I'm like this, then the third, is because I was like this prior to meeting you. No, they're not gonna give you that type of ammunition against them. They're just not gonna do it. So that's what I'm saying. I think that this person should confide in someone that they honestly do trust, and just be honest with that person. Just get it off their mind, get it off their chest, you know what I mean? Or possibly a therapist, for example. Because I do feel like the truth will essentially set, you know, this person free. I truly do believe that it will set this person free, but they got to be honest with themselves. They got to be honest with themselves, because, I mean, I'm sorry, like, when we look at you and your energy and the way that you show up in this connection, I cannot agree with this person on absolutely anything that this person comes up with within their own brain about you. I just can't agree. Like, if this person were to come up with something about you and it does reflect on your behalf that is true, well, if you've been with me for a while, you already know I'm not picking sides or anything like that. I'm just going to tell it how it is. It is what it is. But I can't agree with anything that this person's basically saying, you know, about you and how they perceive you and why they think you're really here and your intentions. I just can't agree with them. Like, with the King of Cups to the Fool coming out here, that's kind of telling me that you're in love with this person. I think that your emotions run very, very deep for this individual, hence why you continue to fight, hence why you continue to do whatever it takes to make this relationship work. If you didn't love this person or cared about this person, you would have dipped a long time ago, to say the least. And it doesn't have anything to, because I just randomly got this download all of a sudden, but it's coming from them. This person might think that the reason why you do whatever it is that you can to make this relationship work is because you quote unquote need them. Again, I can't really agree with anything that this person's basically saying. You know, I feel like you're here because you want to be here. I feel like you're here because you're very attached to what you want with this person. It, you know what I mean? So it's like, like I said, I can't really agree with much of this person's saying. I mean, you could have done something to let this person to think and believe that the only reason why you're here is because you need them, or the only reason why you're here is because of this, and the only reason why you change and you do this, then the third is because you need them, is because you got no choice. Like, yeah, you could have done something to trigger this person to thinking that that's basically what's going on here, but you don't have any sort of cards to basically indicate that. That's my thing, that's why you're here. You see what I mean? Let me look at you. Okay, we have the Strength card. We got the Knight of Wands. We have the Sun. And then we also have the Queen of Wands. Then we have the King of Wands, the Seven of Wands, the Five of Swords, to the Four of Cups. And then we also have the Queen of Swords to the King of Swords. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like this person was just dealing with someone prior to you that they were very vulnerable with, that they put a lot of trust and faith toward, and I feel like that person did something to betray them and deceive them in some way, shape, or form. Going back to what I originally said about this human, like, I think that, you know, there was a point in time where they were the good guy, they were the good girl, and then somebody came along and betrayed them and deceived them, and it was someone that they trusted, it was someone that they were vulnerable with, it was someone that they thought would never play them, manipulate them, gaslight them, whatever have you, and it kind of looks like they did, unfortunately. And from that day forward, you know, it's like they made a vow to themselves, I will never take another fucking person seriously ever again. Like, screw this shit, you know what I mean? But even then, here you come along, you know what I mean? And you give this person every reason to want to take you seriously, to want to be vulnerable with you, to want to essentially build with you. But it goes against the vow that they basically made to themselves, you know what I mean? And I think that that's another inner conflict that this person's experiencing. I mean, they're already experiencing a boatload of inner conflict within themselves, but this is something that this person basically vowed to never do again, to never take another person seriously again, to never allow themselves to be vulnerable with a person again. And then you freaking show up out of nowhere, you know, giving this person every freaking reason to want to take you seriously, to want to build with you, to want to establish a life with you. But what holds this person back has a lot to do with the promise that they made to themselves. It has a lot to do with everything that they've been through. It has a lot to do with the way that they probably were as a person as well. You know, I feel like this person thinks that if they were to allow themselves to be vulnerable with you and allow themselves to go there with you, that it's just going to blow up in their face. Like, they're just going to basically regret it. You see what I mean? You know, it's basically what I'm getting. It's basically what I'm getting. I think that this person fears karma catching up to them. And that's the thing with karma, especially, you know, since I've been doing tarot for, Jesus Christ, years now. Karma creeps up on people, you know what I mean? Like, even when people, because this person ain't the only one, you know what I mean, who worries about what if karma shows up out of nowhere, you know, what if I'm going to pay for this, what if I'm going to pay for that, you know. The ways that you think karma is going to get you back is not the way karma typically gets you back. Because if you think karma is going to hit you in a specific, you know, area or in a specific way, you know what I mean, you're already, you know, going to do everything that you can on your end to essentially avoid that from happening. So if you think that taking another person seriously, for example, is when karma is going to strike and make you pay for everything that you've put another person through, karma is not going to do that. You know, karma is like a fucking Scorpio. She likes to creep up on you, you know what I mean, when you least expect it, when you don't see it coming, when you're not even thinking about it. So as far as like them essentially feeling like they're going to, like, I guess, pay for everything that they put somebody else through or whatever have you within their relationship with you, if they were to allow themselves to be vulnerable with you and go there with you, that's not how karma is going to creep up on them and or strike if that's what they're worried about. And that's another thing too, when it comes down to this person's I guess karma debt anyways, I think that this person, you know, has definitely paid you know, their karma. I am definitely getting that. I think this person, I think karma has definitely made this person pay, and I think this person has definitely paid off their karma debt for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. But karma is not going to make this person pay in the ways that they think. So they think that karma is going to make them pay the moment they become vulnerable with you. It's not going to play out that way. Or the moment they take you seriously, it's not going to play out that way. Like I said, karma is like a fucking Scorpio. Like, it's going to creep up on you in ways you do not see coming, because karma is something that just doesn't want anyone, you know, to know, you know, that she's coming, you know what I mean? Or she's about to strike, or whatever the case may be. She just likes to catch people off guard, you know what I mean? That's just how karma rolls. So no, I think that, you know, if they're worried about, because it looks, I mean, especially with the Devil to the Tower to the Ten of Swords coming out here, I think that this person, when it comes down to all the bad that they've essentially done, I think that this person has definitely paid, you know, for it already. I am definitely getting that. I am definitely getting, this person has already paid for all of that already. I think that what Spirit wants this person to do, you know, is basically, you know, change their ways, because it looks like they got involved with somebody that caused this person to change their ways for the worse, not necessarily for the better. And in doing so, they hurt a lot of people along the way. And like I said, I think this person definitely paid for it. And this person has definitely, you know, learned their lesson when it comes down to not doing people a certain type of way anymore, you know. So yeah, I feel like this person has definitely learned their lesson for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. I just kind of feel like this person just probably can't help but to essentially feel like karma's just going to strike the moment this person allows themselves to be vulnerable with you. No. I've never seen karma show up in a person's life in that manner. Karma always shows up in different ways that you don't even fucking think of, unfortunately, which kind of makes karma that freaking deadly and scary. Again, kind of like a Scorpio, you know what I mean? Kind of like a Scorpio. You know, and talking about Scorpios are all about transformation. Going back to what I said, you know, I think that the karma that this person has essentially already paid for has definitely influenced this person to change their ways. And that's basically what Spirit wants, is for this person to change their ways and not continue to allow what other people have essentially put them through to basically change their heart. The problem is that they allowed a specific person to change their heart. And instead of them remaining the same, instead of them remaining solid, you know, they allowed that person to essentially corrupt their heart, change their heart. And in doing so, unfortunately, they hurt a lot of people along the way. And it wasn't coming from a place of, well, I'm going to make y'all pay for what said person put me through. It wasn't coming from that type of mentality. It was coming from the mentality of, I'm going to get you before you get me. You know what I mean? It was, you know, survival for them. You know what I mean? They were in survival mode, basically. The whole, I'm going to get you before you get me. You know what I mean? When in all actuality, unfortunately, you know, they hurt a lot of people who weren't actually out to get them. And I think that, you know, this is kind of why the universe is trying to get this person to see that you're dealing with somebody who's not out to get you. You're just treating them as somebody who is. And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't. So that's what I have for you, my friend. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated. And I will see you.